The biggest danger to a star on the rise is the potential fall. It's a footballing tale as old as time, with many great young talents rising to the top only to see their stock crash through the floor. Just a few years ago, Marcus Rashford was adored by United fans and hugely popular among England fans thanks to his performances and his highly publicized campaigning for school dinners that saw him awarded an MBE. This was a young man with incredible talent who seemed to care about bigger issues than football. So what happened? Why is Marcus Rashford's United career close to finishing and his England career in peril? This is the truth behind the Rashford saga. United fans love nothing more than a young talent bursting out from their academy. Many of these players are thrust into Old Trafford under the shadow of the class of '92. The expectation is high, to say the least. Marcus Rashford joined the Red Devils Academy aged just 7, with scouts noting his skill and athleticism. At 18, he was given an opportunity to fast-track his progression to the first team after an injury crisis saw him thrust into his debut in a European tie against Danish side Midtjylland in January of 2016. Rashford wasn't the least bit overawed, scoring twice on his debut. A few days later, he made his Premier League debut against Arsenal, scoring twice and assisting as United won 3-2 against their rivals. A dream start to his career, and Rashford's reputation went through the roof right from the off. Able to play wide or as a striker, Rashford suddenly became the new great hope for United and for England, earning his first cap in England's Euro 2016 preliminary squad just 4 months after his professional debut. Rashford then spent a few years biding his time to make a starting spot his own, with players like Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku arriving with huge reputations. He's still got plenty of games across United's ventures domestically and in Europe, and Rashford hit double figures in his first 5 full seasons. The 2019-2020 in particular was a key season for Rashford, hitting prolific numbers in the Premier League with 17 goals in 31 games. His form was excellent, and he was thriving under the faith shown by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The following season saw his impact drop hugely, with only 5 goals in a campaign where Rashford was playing through the pain barrier with niggling injuries. For England in the Euro 2020 final, things turned sour after he missed a penalty in the final shootout against Italy, with a section of fans racially abusing England's black players online. He's had a difficult relationship with England fans since, even when he impressed during Qatar 2022. In 2022-2023, Rashford tore it up in the Premier League under new man Erik ten Hag. He scored 30 in all competitions and was unplayable at times. This was the benchmark. He'd risen to the top of the mountain. Rashford can be a mystery. At times, he looks miserable on the pitch. When United play well and he's in form, football seems like the best thing in the world to Rashford. But in recent history, United have struggled with consistency, and it's made Rashford's own erratic form become the ultimate signifier of United's inconsistency. Since that gold standard season, Rashford has seen his form plummet for both United and England. Ten Hag continued to show faith in Rashford, with many fans and pundits feeling that the player wasn't giving his all on the pitch. Sloppy with the ball, failing to track back, selfish in advanced positions, and lacking the clinical finishing everyone knew he was capable of. 8 goals in all competitions last season, in a campaign where United recorded their worst finish in Premier League history, felt like the bottom. However, Rashford's form dipped even more in the current campaign. Sitting in a lowly 14th position by the end of the 2024 calendar year, United had replaced Ten Hag with Ruben Amorim, and his start to life as manager has been rough. Rashford drew heat for traveling to New York to watch an NBA game ahead of Amorim's first match in charge. Players are entitled to rest and recoup, but there's a time and a place to be spotted courtside, and it probably isn't in November while the team is struggling and a new manager's being thrown in at the deep end. Amorim ended up publicly calling out Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho as 2 players who weren't approaching training seriously enough. Amorim has openly stated the squad isn't fit enough to yet fully deliver his brand of football. It was a sentiment that few fans could argue with, having watched Rashford's form and demeanor drop off so spectacularly, and now it was confirmed by his own manager. Rashford can and should work a lot harder. He's become the poster boy of a squad lacking in work rate and dedication over all else. Every time Rashford has a dip in form after a good spell, questions are asked, but this latest long lingering drop-off has shown no signs of turning. All good things come to an end, and with the relationship between player and club, and more importantly, player and the fan base at an all-time low, it feels like a move would be mutually beneficial. Rashford's currently United's joint second highest paid player on $300K a week. Such a move will be difficult, as the kind of elite clubs capable of paying that wage don't appear to be looking at Rashford, despite his ability and being at a peak age of 27. Those question marks over his attitude will make clubs think twice. There's also the theory that if he could do it week in, week out, he'd be world class. But like many players before him who work in purple patches, he just doesn't have that attribute, and consistency is an attribute. A lot of clubs who operate in or around the mid-table of the Premier League could potentially be a place for Rashford to come alive again without the inherent pressure that comes with being at Old Trafford. Jesse Lingard looked rejuvenated during his great loan to West Ham, but of course his career hit another downturn after that and is effectively over now. Unless United subsidize Rashford's wages, though, a loan to a club like West Ham is unlikely, and a permanent deal probably impossible. Rumors of a move to Newcastle likely won't transpire unless they lose Alexander Isak, and Toon Army fans would want a safer bet as a replacement. So what about Saudi Arabia or the Middle East? The rising football money pit's already seen Cristiano Ronaldo becoming a star attraction. It's a perfect and lucrative semi-retirement plan for aging stars that's also attracting players in their prime. It would be an undoubted waste of a player with such ability at only 27, but Rashford could coast in third gear and still score 20 goals a season with ease in the Saudi Pro League. In the January 2025 window, rumors are ablaze that Rashford's already rejected several offers from the Saudi Pro League, so it suggests he wants to stay in Europe and has apparently offered himself to Spain with no interest yet returned. But what about this possibility? Does Marcus Rashford want to salvage his United career? There are no signs the club can turn around their form with the current squad. Amorim's also been told he'll have no money to spend in January, with the club having spent too much on transfers in recent windows. It means the new coach will have to rely on what he has, but if Rashford's still at United when the window shuts, his season can end one of two ways. 1. He hammers the final nail into the coffin of his United career. Or 2. He makes a huge effort to win over the manager and pull the club up to the high levels he's capable of. United need a talisman and a goal scorer. Everyone knows Rashford can do it, but he has to want to. Rashford's off-the-pitch interests have often had a negative impact on them, even those born of good intent. One of those interests is Rashford's investment company, which is currently at risk of being shut down. It's a distraction he, the club, and Ruben Amorim could do without, because in the end, the best hope of United salvaging their season probably lies in Rashford finding form. What do you think will happen to Marcus Rashford? Does he need to move to salvage his career and get back into England's setup? Let us know in the comments and be sure to like and subscribe.